Geshe Dadul had written a little book which has now been published by the Sravasti Abbey Press. Yeah. And Sin Laurel did a fantastic job. Look at this cover, of Geshe on a, what do you call that? A scooter? A scooter, yeah. Okay. Wearing a helmet. This was taken in South India. Israel. Okay. Um, but it looks like what South India looks like. So, the circumstances was he was learning how to drive when he lived in Atlanta, and uh, he was studying the DMV code, and at the same time learning the driving rules, thinking about how they applied to regular life. And so he wrote the manuscript, um, quoting a driving rule, yeah, and then talking about how you would apply it even if you're not driving. Okay, so very, very clever. And I highly recommend this for people, especially if you have teenagers learning to drive, or adult, children or whoever learning to drive, because it makes it interesting, and it also talks about values. How to be a good human being and a good member of society. Yeah. So today I was going to, maybe read a little bit from the stories that, no, from Sheila's commentary on some of the uh, the DMV code rules, and then tomorrow read a few of the stories, because when the book got passed to me, Geshe had already passed away, and I guess his wish was for us said here to take it on and get it published. So what I did is I added meditations and also more stories of people driving. The original people who worked on the manuscript, Sandra and Martha in Atlanta, had written a couple of stories and put them in. But I think stories really uh, get the point across quite well, and some of them are really hilarious. And I must say that a lot of our people here contributed these stories, which makes me wonder whether to drive in a car with them. No, actually, they're quite good. Um, yeah, people learn from their mistakes. We all learn from our mistakes, hopefully, don't we? Okay, so what can I read from? I made a few notes here. Okay. Okay, so this is chapter 12, which is entitled Negative Emotions Weigh Us Down. Okay, so here's from the DMV. Everyone should be aware of the differences between trucks and cars and behave accordingly. Wow, the guy who wrote the DMV vehicle's really smart. A fully loaded tractor trailer traveling 55 miles an hour needs 3 times the distance a car needs to stop. Okay. So the point is, don't jam on your brakes if you have a tractor trailer behind you, because they're going to run right over you. Okay, here's Gesse's commentary. Some things are difficult to stop once they gain momentum. The sheer size and weight of large commercial trucks introduce a disproportionate hazard to the occupants of passenger vehicles in a crash. Okay, so he goes on from that and says, like a fully loaded truck, the force of human emotions can impact our lives in a big way. Unlike an 18-wheeler, however, our emotions concern the workings of our mind. The impact of some emotions, such as joy and gratitude, gives us a boost in energy and brings a sense of contentment into our lives, whereas the impact of other emotions, such as anger, jealousy, and greed, drains our energy and leads to unhappiness and suffering. Okay, so he goes on from there and he says, taking time to investigate what makes us tick and what triggers our emotional buttons benefits us immensely, especially when it includes examining self-destructive emotions such as hatred, anger, and vengeance. Yeah. And then he goes on to talk a little bit about those three. Yeah. Although variables in our lives influence our emotions, we cannot shirk responsibility for our destructive actions by blaming external circumstances. We should take that sentence and put it on a mirror so that we read it every day. Yeah. The seeds of emotions are in our minds. A program presenting information in a way that stimulates fear or prejudice cannot insert a fearful or prejudiced attitude into our minds out of thin air. Its creators simply tap into the seeds that are already there and then fan the flames. The level of influence that such programming has on us depends on our state of mind and the degree of internal awareness. For some people, outrage and emotionally charged language are part of the attraction. Isn't that true? Yeah. You read different things because it gets you stirred up and angry or full of desire. I mean, also movies. This is, people that do film deliberately create those kinds of things, yeah, because that keeps you watching. Otherwise, if it's just about ordinary things going on in life, it's like, not worth my time. Okay. However, if we stay in a negative mood, such entertainment will affect our health and how we interpret events in our lives. Prolonged anger harms everyone, and its accompanying dose of stress chemicals in our bloodstream day after day can lead to serious health issues such as stroke, heart disease, and depression. If we indulge in such entertainment at some point, we honestly need to ask ourselves if a daily dose of anger is really worth it. Yeah, what do you think? Okay. Recognizing the destructive 18-wheeler sized emotions in our lives challenges us, and doing something about it is even more difficult. If it were simple, we would not do the same destructive actions repeatedly. Yeah, it takes strong intention to direct our mind to more realistic and beneficial attitudes and emotions, and to direct our body and speech away from habitual self-defeating actions. Without a strong motivation to change, we won't. But when we truly motivate ourselves, we will take steps to develop a strategy to get where we want to be. Okay. Educating ourselves about these mental and emotional habits is beneficial, and this is the first step in making changes. It puts us in the position of actively doing something about the problem we face instead of just talking about what we want to do. Yeah, I have this old bad habit that I really should change. Mañana en la mañana, It's actually not my bad habit, it's somebody else's actions, you know. So, educating ourselves about these habits strengthens our inner conviction and determination. For example, to break our habit of watching emotionally charged television programs every day, we can start with learning more about our emotional triggers, the actual source of our anger, how it arises, and the reasons we hold on to something that is bad for us. That is difficult because we do hold on to things that are bad for us and we continue doing it. Why? What are we getting out of it? Okay, there are a variety of books, podcasts, and online materials, as well as direct human beings that shine light on these topics. Part of educating ourselves involves learning practical techniques to help ourselves, such as mindfulness, which can be applied to any situation throughout the day. Practicing the techniques to become more aware of what's going on in our minds and to become more emotionally balanced will have a positive effect. This, in turn, helps us to direct our thoughts in a positive direction. Having a strong aspiration, exercising effort, staying focused, and taking one step at a time will get us there. We will gain momentum that carries us through bumps in the road. Most importantly, we will learn the antidotes to destructive emotions and begin to subdue them. And then he quoted 2 verses from Shantideva that says, "Whenever I wish to move or speak, I will first examine my mind and firmly act in a suitable way. Whenever my mind becomes attached or angry, I will not act or speak. I will remain neutral like a piece of wood." Okay. When it says like a piece of wood, it doesn't mean that you just sit there. Yeah. It means that, when you are primed to act out a negative emotion, you kind of hold yourself back, calm your mind down, and then you deal with the situation. Yeah. So act like a piece of wood doesn't mean you become a piece of wood that doesn't feel anything. And it doesn't mean that you don't deal with the situation. Yeah. I mean, a piece of wood just sits there, and that's what you have to do sometimes, yeah, to get yourself calm. Okay, so that's just one thing, that he does. There's millions of little gems in this book like this, actually 30-something of them, yeah? And tomorrow I'll read you some of the stories that people contributed, which are really great. Okay.